Yeah, here's another load of bills to add to the pile. Oh, hey, I'm Zoe, a recent graduate turned office worker with a lousy wage. I could barely afford to pay for food and rent, let alone think about my college debt. It wouldn't matter so much if it was just me, as I could live off of noodle soup. But I also had Birdie to think about, my little sister. Oh, she's back from school.
Zoe, I found Daddy today!
Huh? I looked at her with a wry smile. Actually, this was nothing new. You see, our parents died when Birdie was just a toddler, so now she longed to have parents just like her friends did. She often said to me,
Zoe, you're like my mommy, but Clara and Polly have daddies too, and I want one.
She was so innocent that whenever she saw a friendly-looking man on the street, she'd ask me,
Is that my daddy?
Come on, come here. How was school today?
Daddy is very handsome, and he lives in a big house. Come on, I'll take you to him.
Oh, my lord. This wasn't a house. It was a mansion. Confused, I was about to question Birdie on this, but she started ringing the bell repeatedly. Before I could stop her, someone who appeared to be the butler came out and happily let us inside without questioning anything. That's odd. I sipped on my iced tea and peered around at the grandness of the place, absorbing the rich energy, when suddenly, a very dashing guy walked over.
There he is! That's Daddy!
Huh? This was so confusing, and seeing her hug a stranger was super embarrassing. I had a talk with the guy to figure out what happened, and apparently he's called Harry, and he's 22 like me. Huh? That's crazy, as he looks and acts way older. As for the dad story, it turns out as Birdie was waiting for the school bus, she saw a woman drop her purse. So she rushed over and picked it up and was about to return it, but the woman turned around, saw Birdie holding it, and accused her of being a thief. Just in time, Harry appeared and claimed to be her father to settle the matter. Then he took her to the mansion and showed her around. So that's what happened. Ugh, my sister. Birdie has told me everything. She's such a precious child. I'd happily adopt her. No way! Why not? You like being here, don't you, Birdie?
Zoe, I really like it here. I can play with Oreo as much as I want. And now, I have a daddy just like Clara and Polly do.
But I can't just leave her alone. Of course not. You can stay with Birdie. What? How come such a good person suddenly fell from the sky? Skeptical, I told Harry I needed more time to think. He smiled and handed me his business card and told me to call him any time. What is this? Harry Atkins, the eldest son of the chairman of ATLAC Corp? Unbelievable! His name was all over the internet as a rich and educated young man. If that was the case, then surely this had to be legit, right? I can't afford to pay these. My sister and I deserve better than this life. Besides, it would be nice to have a place to stay for free, right? So the next day, I went to see Harry and offered to help with the housework as payment. Harry agreed and presented a prepared contract. Contract? Okay. But there was a clause in it that required me not to mention that I was Birdie's sister. This was a little odd, but never mind. It didn't matter. Here was to our new luxurious life. Wait, but does that mean I also have to call him Dad? So, yeah, my new life began. And oh boy, it was crazy. A maid brought me breakfast in bed and did all my laundry. So much for helping out with household chores. There are actually more servants in this house than the number of staff in my office. So it's obvious that there's nothing left for me to do. Even so, I wanted to be useful, because hearing them calling me Miss made me feel quite embarrassed. However, oops, turns out I suck at house chores. Once I put Harry's fine suit in the washing machine and ended up ruining it, which made him pace up and down the room in anger. Also, he couldn't seem to say anything nice about me, always complaining about the flowers I bought or saying the muffins I spent hours baking were too chewy. He threw away all of my handmade stuff because he thought it was garbage. What a rude man! Oh, Wait, he's not even a man. He's just a stubborn kid who doesn't care about other people's feelings. I tell ya, if it weren't for Birdie and that contract, I'd... Phew! But those are just small gripes. In general, our life here was great. Birdie is very happy, and seeing her living her best life makes me smile. But unbeknown to me, turns out this was the calm before the hurricane. Hurricane Rachel! Harry's betrothed fiancée since childhood. She's from a rich family and is therefore deemed a suitable marriage alliance to Harry's family. I overheard the servants in the house saying that Harry is the successor to the company. So when he marries Rachel, the company will be even more flourishing. As soon as she saw me, Rachel kept asking Harry, "Hey, who is this? Why is she here? And this girl too? Why is there a kid in the house?"
Who is this scary lady?
Hearing that, Rachel looked at me from head to toe and then started firing questions at me. "Why are you here? How do you know Harry? When are you leaving?" "Enough!" What a relief. Harry intervened just in time, then dragged her into the reading room. Rachel followed Harry, but didn't forget to wrap her arms around his neck as she peered at me with a smug look on her face. Huh? What does she mean by that? Ugh, is she jealous? If that's the case, then she's wasting her time, because it is true that I have a crush on someone, but it's not Harry. You see, the other week I was wandering home from the grocery store when I met the love of my life. My shopping bag split, and my soda, cookies, and potato chips tumbled out. I was trying to pick everything up without getting run over, when suddenly a guy appeared and helped me. Then he drove me home. His name's Marcus, and he's so hot. After that, we exchanged numbers, and have been texting ever since. Marcus is so easy to talk to, so I confided in him about everything, from Birdie being adopted to the fact that I'm now working as a housekeeper. He's so sweet and kind, and I feel like I can tell him anything. He's the prince of my dreams. Anyway, my strange life in the mansion continued. One thing's for sure, Harry was great with Birdie. For her birthday, he surprised her with a trip to the amusement park. I have to admit, we had a lot of fun together. Birdie made us go on the carousel 5 times. Then we got ice cream. Suddenly, I noticed Harry giving me this odd look. "What?" "You have some ice cream on your lips. Here." He leaned forward and gently dabbed it away with a napkin. Just then, a crowd rushed in, and Harry reached out and pulled me and Birdie closer to him. Our eyes met, and... Why did I have goosebumps and a pounding heart? What did that mean? Did he do that intentionally or not? Why did I have this strange feeling? While I was still sinking deep in my thoughts, Harry stopped the car and said he needed to pass by his brother's place for some files. Huh? Isn't that... Marcus? Marcus? I blurted out. "You two know each other?" I didn't answer. Instead, I turned my attention to Birdie. When we got home, I kept wondering why Marcus never told me who he was. I texted him to ask, and he replied that they don't get along, so he didn't want me to know. Despite all that, I stayed up all night thinking about Marcus. And also Harry. It's safe to say I was confused about everything. Then, Marcus and Rachel suddenly showed up at Harry's house one day with a load of groceries. Rachel announced that she was baking a cake, as it's soon going to be her birthday, and we should all assist. Okay, weird, but whatever. I was preparing the mixture when Marcus took my stirring hand and insisted on helping me. Suddenly, Harry burst in between us. Upon seeing this, Rachel yanked on his arm and pulled him away. My eyes widened in horror as I saw the mixture fly into the air and slow-mo splatter all over us. We stood there covered in cake mixture as we all exchanged dirty looks. Okay, so after that little display, I think it's clear to say that Harry has feelings for me. Later on, when Marcus and Rachel had left, and I was freshly showered, Harry knocked on my door and smiling at me said, "Zoe, there's a family dinner tomorrow where you'll get to meet my parents. Don't worry, you won't have to say anything. As a way of saying thanks, I'll pay off your college debts." Okay, so that was weird, but At this point, I'd learned not to question it anymore. Besides, it would be so nice to be debt-free. And it was just dinner, right? I want to break off the engagement with Rachel. This is my girlfriend, and we already have a kid together. What? I almost blurted out, but Harry squeezed my hand to stop me from saying anything, so I sat there with a dumbfounded look on my face. Right at that moment, Marcus and Rachel burst in. Stop the act! Mom, Dad, this isn't his girlfriend, and that little girl is actually her sister. She's just some poor maid. Yes, that's right. I've known all along. I'm the one who told Marcus to pretend to like you to get proof. What is all this? Mom, Dad, I don't think a liar like him should be the heir of your company. I hope you rethink your decision. I didn't understand. What's going on here? Girlfriend? My child who? The heir of what? I just knew one thing only, that I was fooled by both my crush and Harry. I felt like such an idiot. So I quickly grabbed Bertie, packed up all my stuff, then ran out of that mansion immediately. Poor innocent Bertie seemed so confused. She kept asking where her daddy was and why she couldn't stay with him. I took what was left of our savings to rent a small apartment for both of us. Life went back to normal. Final demand letters and all. This was our reality. I knew that now. The last 2 months were like a dream. It was time to wake up. But still, I felt a pang of sadness whenever I thought about how Harry had fooled me. I was snooping around online and saw an article about how Marcus had taken over the company, only to end up bankrupt due to his poor decision-making. As for Harry, well, he'd founded his own startup, and it seemed to be doing pretty well. But then, one sunny day, I was on my way to pick up Bertie from school when a familiar person walked alongside me. Hey, it's a nice day, isn't it? Harry? What do you want? Look, I admit that at first, I was just using you to get out of my engagement with Rachel. But then, I want you and Bertie in my life. I love you, Zoe. Please come home with me.
I woke up in shock to find my face covered in bandages. My face! This can't be happening! Right, Callum? Tell me this is not happening! Right after, the doctor entered the room.
Miss, unfortunately, the glass from the car window has caused extensive trauma to your skin.
As the doctor continued talking, I felt myself zone out and began to panic. My face is everything! Without it, my singing career is over!
Ash, it's gonna be okay. I'll help you find a way to return to the stage. I promise.
Hi, I'm Ashley, and I had a dream of becoming a famous singer. I used to sing on the streets to collect a few dimes. Then one day, a handsome and polite man approached me.
I'm Callum, a talent scout, and I believe with your angelic voice and rare beauty, you have the makings of a star.
It was love at first sight, and not only did I gain a manager, but also a hot boyfriend. He arranged for me to perform at cafes, bars, and restaurants. It was nonstop. I enjoyed it, but I had to admit I was also, exhausted. And that's when Callum suggested that I use autotune and lip sync to save my throat.
Babe, I know this ain't right, but you're burned out, and I can't bear seeing that. You know, it's not forever. I think that way you can focus on dressing up and letting people admire that gorgeous face of yours.
Hearing this did make me feel sad, but Callum knew what he was talking about, so I trusted him, while the fire inside me to perform on a professional stage still burned strong. Then one day, he told me some unexpected good news.
No more small gigs. The famous company Dream M Entertainment is holding auditions to find their next big star. I've taken care of everything. You just need to be 100% confident in performing.
This was it. My time to shine has finally come. But then that evening, while driving home and practicing singing, I had an uncontrollable coughing fit. I lost focus of the road for a split second and didn't see the incoming car until everything went dark. And the next thing I knew, I was waking up at the hospital looking like Frankenstein and certain that my big dreams were now in shatters. After 2 months in the hospital, most of my scratches healed, but only a deep cut scar remained on my cheek. Just a few days more until the audition, and I couldn't show up looking like this.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Can makeup cover it?
Or maybe a mask? There must be something. But the doctor said I can't wear makeup until it's fully healed, as it might cause an infection. And if I went on stage in a mask, people would certainly raise questions. Then Callum's eyes suddenly darted to the photo on the shelf. Ash, here's your answer. Get your sister to be your double until your wound heals. You mean Bridget? That freak? No way! Yeah, I do have a twin sister, but we aren't close, for sure. My parents divorced when we were 7, and the courts decided I'd live with Dad and Bridget with Mom. I had a great life with Dad, as he bought me any outfit I wanted. But Bridget was a tomboy and didn't care about fashion. The last time I saw her, she was wearing all faded clothes. I guess the whole moody, loner, frown like she's constipated look was her vibe. I tried talking to her at college, but she always snubbed me. And just like that, we ended up being strangers, despite being siblings. And now you say I have to grovel her for help? No! I get that you guys aren't close, but surely you can put your differences aside for this once-in-a-lifetime chance at your dream? I suppose Callum has a point, so I agreed. Only it wasn't that simple, as I didn't have Bridget's number and she refused to use social media. You know, to match her cool, unbothered vibe. Ugh. Hang on. I remember her scowling at me behind the counter at the Yo-Yo fast food once. Perhaps she still worked there? I immediately disguised myself and headed there. Oh, there she is. I started hovering around her and explained what had happened, then asked her if she'd be my double for the audition, but she didn't bother to care. Get out the way. I can't perform looking like this. Please, this is everything to me. It's none of my business. I have work to do. See, I can't just give up like this. So I ordered food and sat there and waited for her to change her mind. It was closing time already. I was about to leave when I saw Bridget and her boss quarreling with each other.
My gosh! This is why it's never good to hire teenagers. I only hired you because you begged for the job.
I'm sorry, sir.
Darn it! Starting today, you will work without pay for 3 months.
No, sir, I need money. You didn't even pay me last month. Hey, what are you doing? Go. You can work elsewhere. Don't be here with a scumbag.
What?
And you, get lost before I report you to the cops. What you aiming at? Why do you have to work here anyway? Doesn't Mom give you a big enough allowance? Don't pretend like you care. How could a spoiled girl like you ever understand? What do you mean by that? Anyway, you need money, right? I can help you. Bridget didn't answer, but I saw through her Miss Frosty persona. If you replace me until I'm recovered, then I'll pay you. A big check worth 10 times what you're making here. By the way, only 2 of us and my manager know about this, so don't worry. Then I gave her my number and told her to message me when she made a decision. She reluctantly took it, saying nothing, and just left. But that evening, a message from an unknown number popped up. Okay, I'm in. You better pay me right. I immediately called Callum and told him the good news. Now it's time to turn Bridget into a temporary me. Normally, Callum and I keep our relationship low-key to maintain professionalism. And that's the same now. We're keeping it a secret with Bridget. Callum made it clear to Bridget that all she needed to do was to look pretty and lip-sync. But geez, that girl could only moan. This crop is too tight and constricting. Stop scratching like a monkey. I showed her how to stand straight and walk like a diva. And it shocked me when she said she'd never heard of skincare. No wonder her skin was as dry as the Sahara Desert, and her pores were as deep and large as black holes. No worries. The witches here will give you a magic transformation. Wow! She looked exactly like me, just without the wound. Even Callum was impressed. He instantly offered to help her into the car and drive her to the audition. I guess it made sense for Callum to keep her on our side. Now is not the time for stupid jealousy, Ashley. I disguised myself as Bridget's assistant and nervously waited backstage. The audition was such a nightmare. Bridget's lip-syncing didn't match the pre-recorded audio, and she danced like she had 2 left feet. Finally, the performance ended, and the first judge to comment was David Knight, aka the music wizard, master composer, and lord of melodies. Oh, I know this guy. He's sure a demigod in real life.
Your singing was dismal, and your dancing was catastrophic. Did you get lost looking for the bathroom and wander on stage by accident? Having a pretty face isn't enough to keep you here.
The judge sitting next to David suddenly grabbed the mic. Wait, he's the CEO of Dream M.
You're wrong, David. Beauty is also talent. She's a diamond in the rough. and only needs a little polishing to shine.
After the show, Callum was overjoyed as he informed Bridget that she'd become a talent at Dream M and would soon become an A-lister. I was so excited too that I flung my arms around Bridget, but she coldly pushed me away. Enough for today. Since then, the three of us agreed that Bridget would perform on stage while I would record at the studio. The bad side was about putting up with David, the difficult judge at the audition who was in charge of my recording session.
The only thing going for you is your face, so why hide it behind that mask?
If you must know, I didn't have time to apply any makeup. Satisfied much?
Sorry, what you say?
It was too early in the day to deal with such a jerk, so I stayed silent and focused on the session.
Your singing has improved significantly since the audition. It just still lacks some emotion.
Thanks! My debut was just days away, but things didn't go so well. Bridget had no sense of style and appeared in the fashion column worst dress lists, shaking like a leaf on stage and jumbling her words when facing impromptu interviews. So I had to set up a crash course for Bridget, but this time I taught her simple, easy-to-remember things instead of big stuff like last time. I showed her how to pair basic outfits, how to deal with the press, and most importantly, I still guaranteed her regular pay. Ash, you've helped me a lot, and so thanks. Oh my, she was so awkward. But that was sweet. I could gradually feel that we were actually sisters.
Bridget, the main effort was still yours. Keep it up.
Soon, the company began to promote Bridget, and her reputation skyrocketed. All the while, my relationship with Callum took a nosedive. At previous events, Callum used to pamper me and bring me my favorite foods, but now he just brought Bridget's favorites. He never left her side, and they were always having cozy chats. So one day, I decided to talk straight to him about this. Callum, I have to admit that I feel kinda uncomfortable, as you're a bit too close to Bridget.
Babe, I got you. I have to pretend I'm with Bridget as everyone thinks she's you. I'm doing this for your own good, so stop overthinking. Will you do it for me?
I know, but I really feel insecure since I got this scar. It's like I've lost everything.
Don't worry, the scar will eventually heal. The most important thing right now is you stay calm and get through this time.
Right. I suddenly forgot that I was working for a greater goal. I tried convincing myself that they were just dedicated to their work and that my wound would be healed soon, and I could go back to being me. I still go to the hospital every week for follow-up and treatment. It's faded, hasn't it? I needed to escape, so I went to the studio to sing my heart out. I was certain no one would be there at this time of night, but turned out I was wrong. Surprisingly, on seeing me, that dude didn't shoo me away. Instead, he was actually pleasant.
A night owl too, huh? Start singing then. I'll give you my valuable opinions.
I was shocked by this approachability, but I rolled with it. David was many things, but there was no denying he was extraordinarily talented that made huge hits. I sang, and he gave me some useful tips and pointers.
I believed you'd be too haughty to listen to my guidance, but it turns out I was mistaken.
Well, I found you annoying at first, but I appreciate your help and I value your feedback. It seems there's actually a nice guy behind the ogre front.
Sorry, what you say?
I won't say it twice. Then I started humming a few lines from a song I'd written, but didn't realize I was singing it out loud until it was too late.
That song is good. Whose is it?
Actually, I wrote it. No need to be mocking.
No, I'm not at all. I didn't know you had a talent for songwriting. Come here, let me hear the whole song.
So we sat down together, and surprisingly, our vibe matched each other perfectly. Actually, you're the first person to take my ability seriously.
Sorry?
Hey, stop pretending!
Actually, I'm not
Gradually, Bridget seemed to figure out how to act like me, and her popularity grew. She was no longer sluggish and paid more attention to her appearance. Even Callum mentioned how he could only distinguish us by my wound. From then on, Callum said Bridget could do it herself, so they went to the shows without me. This feeling is making me squirm. On the one hand, I want Bridget to do well to help me out. On the other hand, I'm also feeling a bit resentful that I was replaced so easily. I also miss the way Callum used to care about me, but I remember what he said the other day, and I know I shouldn't be acting like a child. So I tried to distract myself by doing what I love the most, singing. Everybody was packed with Bridget's show, so this world is mine. Woohoo! I was in the studio practicing my new song when suddenly David barged in.
Can you explain to me why you're here whilst also performing on TV live?
Why are you here?
Does it even matter now? Who really are you?
I begged him to keep quiet. Then I frantically took my mask off and told him everything. I mean, everything. As I was too shocked to make any excuses.
This is insane.
I know it isn't right, but I promised once my wound healed, everything would go back to normal. Singing is everything to me. David remained silent for a while, then blurted out,
All right, if what you said is true, I will keep your secret. And one more thing. If you really like singing and songwriting, I can continue to help you. What do you say?
Yes, totally, yes.
And don't you dare lie to me. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, swear to God. Finally, it was the follow-up day. As the doctor finished the examination, I saw him frown.
I'm sorry to inform you that the scar cut's too deep. It may fade over time, but I'm afraid it won't go completely. At least in 2 years.
I broke down. This couldn't be happening. Not knowing what else to do, I decided to go and find Callum. But when I arrived at his house, I saw that he wasn't alone. Bridget and Callum were sitting together and slowly leaning for a kiss.
Seeing Chi acting shamelessly loving around Nom in front of Ronnie when she knew all the truth even irked her more.
Can't underestimate this snake. What is she scheming? I'd better watch out on her.
Later that day, while working near the kitchen, Veronica spotted Chi doing something fishy.
Hey, what you doing?
Nothing. Veronica immediately bent down to see a wrinkled food package in a bin nearby.
What? The expiration date was 2023. A year ago? Hey, why do we still have expired food here?
Oh gosh, but is it ice cream that room 302 asked for? Right away, Ronnie asked the staff to check all of the food orders and rushed after the food trolley which was set to arrive at room 302. The news was soon to reach Nom, so he sprinted to the guest's room to see Ronnie was already there. Excuse me, miss. On behalf of the hotel, I do apologize for this inconvenience. It's on us for not training our staff well. I'll be talking to her now. Then he dragged Ronnie into the corner. You're ruining others' efforts due to your irresponsibility. Don't you see? If you can't do it properly, then do nothing. His words were like thousands of daggers pierced into Ronnie's heart.
Okay, now I got it. In his eyes, I was only that, shallow.
Suddenly, the guests came near them. Excuse me, I know you're teaching your staff and it's not my business to interfere, but this girl wasn't the one who delivered the food earlier. But she came here and sincerely apologized to me for what she didn't do, which is much appreciated. You should reward her instead. Hearing that, Ronnie couldn't hold her tears and ran away. Ronnie! Veronica! Sorry, I gotta go. Our manager will talk with you soon, and the hotel will offer some compensation for your trouble. Gosh, my anger got the better of me, and I hurt her once again. Where are you, Ronnie?
I was too dumb to keep chasing after him like a fool, while he didn't bother to care, and even wanted to kick me out. Okay, fine. I'll go as you wish.
In the blurred vision due to teary eyes, Ronnie spotted a smirk face of Chi, the one who's behind all of this.
If it hadn't been for my brother and 2 families, I would expose you already, you snake!
That night, Ronnie didn't want to face Nom at the hotel, so she ran to Hoi River for some fresh air, and in front of her eyes was Hoi An with a different charm. At night, when the dark covered everything, colorful lanterns were lit up, stretching the sparkling lights in every corner of the ancient town. But the splendid view didn't color her any happier. She was glumly dragging her feet on the sidewalk when she spotted an old woman sitting on the edge of a riverbank selling floating lanterns, and her hands were shaking when she was trying to light them up.
Let me help you, okay?
Then she sat down and helped her kindle the candles and deliver lanterns to buyers. Seeing their faces beaming with the flickering candle lights made Ronnie unconsciously smile.
It's like everyone whistles their dreams in lanterns and has the river give wings to the wishes to fly high and far away.
Ronnie was immersed in her own thoughts when she accidentally burned herself. Are you okay?
What?
Ronnie, listen, I came to apologize to you for the misunderstanding this afternoon. I should have listened to you first. Let me help you. Don't frown like that, or you're gonna be some wrinkled old woman soon. Hey, hello, Earth to Veronica. Alright, let me show you around. We only have tomorrow here before returning to Da Nang. You will regret it if you don't go. Come on, I beg you, okay? Veronica was still in a foul mood, but unknowingly stretched her hand. They said goodbye to the old lady and walked side by side along Hoi River, but no one said anything until, Are you gonna ignore me forever like that?
You think I'm some annoying girl, don't you?
Huh? Why you ask that? No, maybe.
then why you had to hire a fake girlfriend just to avoid me.
What? She knew it? But how? I'm sorry. It was the reason at first, but it turns out I was wrong about you. You have a good heart and don't deserve those things. Maybe it's too late, but I'm sorry again. I should have thought it through first.
What makes you think of me like that? It's like years ago. You suddenly slammed a door in front of me without a word, and then now turned indifferent and hateful to me. Why, Nom?
Something happened, and I'll tell you when time feels right. Please trust me. I never hate you and will never. Please tell me, what should I do for you to forgive me?
I don't know, but maybe... Padalo. Or here they call it Dap V, right? Yes, I want to try Dap V, but we're not done here.
Okay. The next day, Nom took Ronnie to Padalo as promised.
Okay, Dap is riding, V is the duck. But wait, it's clearly a swan. Why?
I don't know either. Vietnamese is complicated.
Having tickets, 2 of them were waiting to be on boat, and Veronica couldn't hide her excitement.
Okay, be careful. It's flippable.
Poof, I'm not a kid.
Then Ronnie excitedly jumped on the boat, causing it to sway from side to side, and it wobbled even more as she was being extremely panicked.
Ah! I haven't watched Stranger Things Season 5 yet. I can't die now. Nom, save me!
I told you, what? Now, take my hand. Ronnie slowly held out her hand, then Nom gently pulled her in his arms and helped her sit down. Do you feel okay now?
No, I'm not okay at all.
Hey, aren't you saying you want to do Padalo? Here you go.
Ah, that's right.
Then they left the dock and started pedaling farther. Ronnie at first had some troubles in steering the boat, but with the help of Nom, she totally enjoyed this little game. It's just like riding a bike. Simple, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of an exercise, right?
Then exercise more. And with that, they even raced against each other enthusiastically and went to the middle of the lake without knowing. Hey, why suddenly stop?
I feel my legs are gonna leave me soon.
Then suddenly rain started pouring down and the boat started tottering. They looked around to find that the other boats had already returned to the dock, leaving theirs alone here.
Oh my god, we had to pedal fast to the dock now. Hey, together. 1, 2, 1, 2.
But the strong wind made the boat even more wobbly. Just wait here until the rain stops.
What? I couldn't just wait here. Anyone? Help! Help!
But Ronnie's attempt clearly turned in vain, as it only invited more people on the shore taking pictures and recording them. After a while, everything was quiet before Nom broke the silence. Do you still recall that day back in secondary school? We snuck outside to buy a new flavor of our favorite bubble tea. It was raining hard, just like today.
You still remember that? Right, that day we were soaked like rats, just to be chased by a dog, and we ended up dropping bubble teas on the road, and even got scolded by teachers.
Then the 2 of them kept talking about the good old moments together, without noticing the rain had abated since when. Soon after, the safeguard appeared to help them return to the dock. About Ronnie and Nom, they might get wet, but more than that, they were soaked in the fresh emotions towards each other.
Nom, let's call today Duck Day. And on this day, June 6th, every year, we're gonna do Padalo again.
Sounds fun. That night, someone uploaded photos of them on the lake on the internet. It naturally became the meme of the day and received thousands of reactions.
Those comments are so funny. Nom, you read it?
But not as funny as your face. Then every night after, they kept texting each other, and it was always dawn when they finally said goodnight.
Is it too early to think about our firstborn child's name? No way Nom would do anything to harm my family. But what should I do to convince Grayson?
I've been wrong about her all the time. It was stupid of me to project my hatred towards her mom to her. Seeing this, Grayson and Chi surely didn't take it well.
Bae, what are we supposed to do now?
Just one more step away. Early the next morning, Grayson met Ronnie for some negotiation. My baby sis, our plan needs your little help to be kicked off.
No way I help you.
Stop your silly crush. Do you really dare to betray your own family just for some jerk?
Says you. I gave you 1 week to find evidence, and now what you've got? Nothing, apart from some dirty tricks you pulled on Nom. Tell you what, I'm out.
Grayson, what now? We don't need her. I have another plan. A few days later, Nom's hotel suddenly got back out at night, but it wasn't the only thing out of his expectation. Call technicals to check the grid now! Hey you! You're boss here, right? Yes, ma'am. I apologize for the accident. It might just be some minor technical problems. Please come back to your room. The electricity will soon return.
Patient? How could I be patient when your staff humiliated me? What, ma'am? Everything's turned pitch black and I was trying to find some receptionist. Here you are. Why cut the electricity without notice, huh? Please bring me a fan or something. I'm sweating like crazy.
You're sweating not for being hot, but for you being overweight, miss.
You're saying what?
Are you deaf? I'm saying because you're fat, miss.
So this is the way you train your staff? Right then, more and more customers came to confront Nam.
Hey, some staff snuck into my room saying to fix some wire plugs, but he stole my wallet away.
Me too. My laptop was stolen when the lights were out as well. Hotel what? It's a scam, guys.
Nam was trying to calm the guests down, but they seemed not to be in a mood for any explanations. Instead, they asked to return the room and demanded a payback. How could this happen?
Little did he know, the mastermind was already sneakily slipping through the crowd to run away.
That's it. And now let's see how that jerk deals with this.
Nam tried to track down the staff, but he was nowhere to be seen. The hotel was plunged into turmoil. Orders came in few, and the reputation was seriously in ruin. Ronnie couldn't bear seeing that. It's definitely Grayson who's behind all of this. He's my brother, but he's wrong this time. Even if it's true Nam wanted to harm our family, there's many other ways to confront this.
And she meant it. She came straight to find Grayson.
It's you, right?
What are you talking about?
Don't act innocent. It's you who set up the Nam's Hotel incident.
Yes, it's me. So what? This little brat has no skills in running business anyway. I just helped him realize it sooner.
You have to admit this and return the prestige to Nam's Hotel.
Huh? Are you dreaming, my little sis?
Oh no, my big bro. I'm sorry to tell you that actually, I've already recorded our conversation. If you have no guts to admit, then let your little sis do it. Hey, I don't know anything about this. Don't drag me into this. Bye.
Why do you do this? I'm your brother.
That's why I want you to understand we couldn't take revenge by revenge.
Jesus, did that jerk cast a spell on you or what? Why now you still blindly trust him? It's him who made our resort stumble.
Then Nam out of the blue barged in.
Who told you I harmed your family? Here you are. If not you, then who else? Isn't it you who did this to take revenge for... Keep talking. Why stop? Take revenge for what? I've already turned a blind eye and let this slide, and now you want to dig this up? Okay, fine.
That's when Ronnie knew all the truth about her mom's scheming on taking Nam's family's resort for her own possession. That's also the reason why that day he coldly left her without a word. My mom? So my dad was also in on that?
No, your dad is totally oblivious about that. Mr. Andrews was so kind to help us with a handsome sum to start again. He's been so nice to us, so I don't want to make a fuss.
And you've known about this the whole time, but still talk about revenging? Don't you see our family as the one who should take the blame? Grayson, it's the karma we have to take. I'm so disappointed in you and Mom. Nam, I do apologize to you for all the troubles my family has caused you and your family. I will handle this ASAP. Then Veronica asked Grayson to publicly admit his scheme and apologize to Nam. This wasn't easy for Grayson, but I know deep down, my brother isn't a bad person. Thanks to that, Nam's Hotel resumed working smoothly as before. After that, Ronnie and her brother came back to the States and told the truth to their dad.
What? You've been doing this behind my back the whole time? You know what? We're more brothers to each other. When I had nothing, it's him who helped to lift me up, and now you requite evil with good?
Mrs. Andrews was perplexed, as this was the first time she saw her husband this mad. She admitted her wrongdoings, and a few days later suggested they come back to Vietnam to apologize to Nam's family. And of course, they couldn't believe in what they were just told. They kept silent for a while, then...
To be honest, this news is totally strange to me. But it's all the past now. Let's end here once and for all.
And after everything, the siblings finally found themselves on the same side in the matter.
I was about to tell you before, but not until now do I have courage. But thank you, Ronnie. You might not believe it. If it hadn't been you and the recording, I might not have been able to awake from the nightmare of revenge and then admit my wrongdoings. I was foolish to let hatred and jealousy cloud my judgments and act silly. But thanks to Nam's big heart and your righteousness, I now learn my own lessons. And hey, he might be a good brother-in-law, sis.
How could it happen when our families and me alone caused too many troubles to his family and him? 2 years later, now Veronica's worked for her family business as Grayson's assistant. One day, when going back to home after a tiring working day, she got a message from a strange number. What's this? This is creepy. Anyways, today is June 6th, so what? Oh my, is it... Veronica hurriedly outside to see Nam already there, holding a big bouquet.
Ready?
Ready. Why you suddenly... Oh, no. See, what takes you so long?
Oh, pardon me, princess. It's hard to find a pedalo, a true DAP V in the States.
Now would you look at this girl, owning the stage, slaying all the performances. Guess what? That's me. I'm Rena, a talented beauty just like my mom, Demi Grande, the famous singer. Alongside being a dazzling diva, Mom also works as a vocal trainer at my school, the Gloria Rowley Arts Academy. Having the best teachers here to help me perfect all my skills sounds amazing, right? I excel at everything I do, being an MC, dancing, acting, mastering the piano. But still, I knew that none of these would really satisfy my mom. 'Cause there is one not-so-tuneful problem. I'm tone deaf. At 7, once after I sang my little heart out in a vocal class, the teacher asked my mom when she came to pick me up, "Oh, so Rena is really your daughter? What a shame she didn't inherit your voice." She's so off-key, we all had to cover our ears. But besides singing, I can still shine on stage in other ways. For example, being an MC at my mom's new album pre-listening party. Everything was going smoothly, right up until track number 6, when the speakers and screen glitched out. Being the professional I am, I kept the crowd entertained with my charisma and dance moves. Rena, sing us a song too, please! Suddenly, the rest of the audience were nodding in agreement. I hesitated, but then decided to go with it. Just a short one. Can't be that bad. 'Cause I'm in the stars tonight. So watch me bring the fire, set the night alight. The audience started laughing. Oh no, if only Harry Potter could lend me his invisibility cloak right now. Please help! Suddenly... Hey, everyone! Sorry for the technical issues. It seems to have affected the sound system also, causing voices distortion. So, not letting you all wait any longer, how about we do an acoustic performance for this next song, in which Ariana and I had the honor to feature with Miss Demi Grande. I assure you won't be able to get this experience anywhere else. The crowd cheers so loud. They must have forgotten about my disastrous performance. Thank God. Everyone was surely enjoying this. I mean, who could blame them? Look at him. My savior. Not Harry Potter, but Brian Willis, the best singer from the vocal department of our academy. At the end of the show, I rushed over to get a photo with Mom, but it seems she was busy. I guess I'd see her at home. That evening, I was in my room looking at video clips from the party when a video of me singing popped up. I scrolled through the comments. So, Demi's beautiful voice was defo not inherited. She can dance and act, but she sure can't sing. Huh? It wouldn't make more sense if Ariana was Demi's daughter. Just then, Mom came in to thank me for the successful event and saw me disheartened by those words. It doesn't matter, Rena. Just enjoy your dancing or anything you like. Singing isn't for everyone. I couldn't get her words out of my head. I was a daughter of a diva, yet I sounded like a frog. No way. They can sing, then this diva's daughter can sing too. So I booked myself in for some online singing lessons, then signed up as the opening solo singer for the Academy's annual concert. As long as I practice hard, then I'd make it, right? Just like how I honed my other skills. Mom saw me practicing and tried to help, but no matter how hard I tried, I always came in at the wrong beat, sang as if I was reading, whispered when it was too low, cracked my voice when it was too high, and screamed out the words. Sweetie, why don't you prepare a dance instead? It's more of your thing. Leave the singing to our vocal department. Ariana will surely nail it. Ugh! Ariana this, Ariana that! I'm your daughter, not her! I must be able to sing! I was looking at the list of registered candidates and feeling nervous. But Brian appeared beside me. Oh, so you want to follow the singing path? If so, I'll always support you. He handed me some materials for basic vocal training. I was thinking about how sweet he was when Ariana and her friends passed by. Oh, so both you and Brian are trying out for the opening solo? Nah, just me, obviously. How could Brian compete against his girl? Ariana is his girl? So Brian didn't like me at all. He was just being polite. Both him and Mom thought I was just a dud and Ariana was the headline act? So I practiced all day and night to prove them wrong. I also posted a short clip of my singing on the forum and said if people voted for me, I'd provide a mega performance full of singing and dancing. The next day, the school announced the top 2 tied opening solo candidates, Ariana and me.
I was so excited. But then I heard the murmuring. You voted for her? For real? I just want to see how bad her voice can get.
Don't be so mean. She's Miss Grande's daughter. Of course my vote goes to her.
Suddenly, Enid, this usually timid girl, appeared and congratulated me. Don't listen to them, Rena. I believe only someone as well-rounded as you deserves to represent Gloria Rowley's Art Academy. Enid's kind words really gave me strength. Now I just had to keep on practicing. I'm so near to the goal now. That weekend was the final rehearsal before the selection round. I was extremely nervous, and this was the first for me to feel this bad on stage. I wasn't as comfortable and confident as I was MC or a dancer. I tremblingly sang, but all I could think of was my itchy throat. I couldn't hit the notes at all. Had I practiced the wrong techniques? No way. I followed all the instructions Brian gave me.
If you don't really want to do it, don't push yourself.
I just feel a little under the weather today, so I didn't want to push it too hard. Don't worry, I've got a wonderful performance in store for everyone on D-Day. Oh, Brian, where have you been? We need to run over our duet one more time. Ariana again? She must be trying to pick a fight with me. I glumly looked around the auditorium and saw everyone from different departments busily preparing for their amazing performances. They were all passionately practicing. Meanwhile, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. How on earth could I save this performance? I was at my all-time low when Enid appeared next to me. Hey, do you want to team up? I have the vocals and you possess the greatest stage presence. Seeing my confused face, she continued, I've always admired you, and it's really sad to see you like this. We all just want a successful event for our academy, right? I've tried so hard. Everyone, especially my mother, is really looking forward to my performance. I cannot fail. So I agreed to let Enid help me lip sync for the audition. Just for once. I'll recover in time for the real concert anyway. The audition started off great. Enid was backstage singing, and turns out her voice is Taylor Swift level amazing. It's even more soulful than Ariana's. Seeing the crowd's stunned faces, I confidently gave the performance my best shot. But then I suddenly noticed the crowd's confused looks and realized something. Enid had stopped singing. Panicked, I turned on my mic to sing, but my voice came out as an off-key tremble. I sounded terrible, but I managed to finish a song and then rushed backstage. As soon as I stepped backstage, I saw my mom and some of the other students, including Brian and Ariana, gathered around Enid, who was sobbing, saying that her mic broke and that she didn't mean to let me down. Enid, what are you doing here? I can't, Ari. Please forgive me. I can't do it. Even though you're my sister, I can't. What are you talking about?
Wait, you two are sisters?
Oh, I see. So Ariana teamed up with Enid to sabotage me. I knew I wasn't Ariana's favorite person, but this was low, even for her. Now I was a laughingstock to everyone. It had been a horrible day, so I just wanted to curl up in my room and be left alone. Only, Mom knocked on my door. Sweetie, can we talk? I was too sad to answer, and Mom must have been mad at me, as she didn't try knocking again. I can't blame her. I would too if I was a mom. A tone-deaf daughter like me really embarrassed her. As expected, the next day at school, everyone was buzzing about 3 hot topics. The first one being my lip syncing. Rena can't even sing properly. Her performance was a joke. But she's truly a great dancer. She's better off focusing on that. The second, that they suspected Ariana of being the mastermind who set me up. And the last one was a surprise at how awesome Enid's voice was. That whole morning, I couldn't escape the gossiping. Worse still, clips of my lip syncing were posted online, and now the Academy had been accused of favoritizing a celeb's daughter over talent. I never meant for it to affect my mom and the school's reputation. I know I needed to try and fix this, so I decided to apologize in front of everyone during lunch break. It was my idea to lip sync, and I know it was dumb. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done it. But before my friends could reply, Enid spoke up. Rena, I didn't mean to blow the lip sync plan. Ariana begged me to, but I refused. It was a completely unintended incident. Please, drop the act. I never asked you to do that. I didn't record our convo because I trusted you. Because you're my sister. But come on, Ariana, you know what you said. Oh, you didn't record it? Then it's a good job I did. Ariana then pulled out her phone and played a video. Why were you lying about the lip syncing? Relax, you should be thanking me for helping you eliminate a rival. I gasped in shock, and so did everyone else. I never thought that sweet, timid Enid could secretly be so conniving. Enid couldn't play innocent anymore, so she broke down and told everything. Okay, I did it, but none of y'all understand what it's like having Ariana for a sister. I have a better voice, but I can't compete with her. She's beautiful and everyone loves her, while I'm always the black sheep. Not to mention my migraine medication made me put on these unlosable weights. So I felt too insecure to stand on stage. I just wanted Ariana to taste failure for once, to feel what I feel. So I used Rena to beat her, but the mic messed up, and I took my chance to put the blame on Ariana instead. Everyone was still trying to process all these shocking revelations when a boy stood up. Voila! Everything is clear. It's just some selfish scheme of one person. GR Arts Academy is full of awesomely talented students. Stop the dumb rumors. Turns out, that guy has been live streaming the whole thing. Now that the case was closed, both Mom and the Academy's credibility was restored. But this drama is still too much for me. I needed a breather. As I listened to the birds chirp around me, I began to feel calmer. But then I saw Ariana coming over. I'm sorry about my sister. It's true I'm a bit jealous of you, but I'm not that spiteful. Jealous? Of me? But you're pretty, have a superstar voice, and everyone in school loves you. How about you, huh? You're beautiful, multi-talented, you can MC, act, and dance. All I can do is sing. Okay, so turns out Ariana isn't as unapproachable as I thought she was? She's actually nice. Maybe I shouldn't have been so quick to judge her. Suddenly, Brian charged over to us with an alarmed look on his face. Calm down, Tiger. I'm not harming your girl. She's all yours now. Your girl? Why are you here and not at home? I'm not ready to face Mom just yet. She must hate having a tone-deaf daughter. Rena, you were wrong for lip-syncing, but it's not your fault that you can't sing. Singing isn't something mandatory for all human beings, is it? But do you know how proud Miss Grande is of you? She always brags to us about your achievements and plays us your performance videos. Brian's wise words made me feel a lot better. He was right. I shouldn't have lip-synced. I should have just embraced the things I'm actually good at, and just been myself. After talking to Brian, I felt ready to go home and face Mom. Everyone expects me to sing as well as you, and I too honestly thought that if I kept practicing, I'd be able to. But the truth is, I'm just not a singer, and I never will be one. I know you're mad at me, but I can't be like Ariana. I'm so sorry. Sweetie, I never want you to be anything other than you. I'm so proud of you. And I'm sorry if my actions ever came across differently to you. I wasn't mad at you, at all. I really just wanted to give you a hug last night, but I didn't hear anything from you and thought you might need some time on your own. So, you're not upset that I'm not a singer? Of course not, silly. I just want you to be happy and pursue whatever you love. I'm glad Mom and I had cleared things up, but I couldn't stop thinking about Enid and why she did what she did. So that evening, I texted her. The lip sync was a bad call, but it made me realize that no one's good at everything. We all have our own strengths. Mine isn't singing, but yours is. Your voice is truly angelic, so don't let anything stop you from doing what you love. I'm glad we're okay now. You're right. Being a singer angel doesn't require a stick figure. Thank you, and I'm sorry. I'm relieved that's all sorted. And Enid learned her lesson and now realizes just how amazing she is. I was anxiously waiting backstage for my performance. Luckily, I had Brian by my side to support me, even if he was fussing a bit too much. I'm only the backup dancer. Go check on Ariana. She's the star of the show. I'm not the one on his mind. You're his one and only priority. Hey, he even gave up his chance to sign up for opening performance for you. Huh? You really did that for me? Your priority? Since when?
Yes, since I saw you emceeing on the first day of school.
It's only 6 a.m., but Dad already woke me up.
Hurry up, LaDonna. A huge storm's coming. Poor households await the city's plan for food and shelter.
Oh, then what's the mayor's plan for my food?
But Dad didn't listen and just drove away without letting me have breakfast. Well, I'm used to this anyway. A little backstory. We came from a long line of politicians. My grandpa, my uncles, all worked for the government. My dad actually broke with tradition and became a successful businessman. But I guess the apple really can't fall far from the tree. Last year, he took a sudden U-turn and moved back to his hometown to pursue a political career. And he was elected mayor. Since then, he had no time left for me. Not to mention the judgy eyes I had to face at school. You look fine. It's not you. It's your dad's new policy they're whispering about.
Don't mind them, LaDonna. What do us kids know about politics anyway?
Here they are, Kira and Troy, my only friends here. In fact, Troy's even in a similar situation. His mom is the chief of police, but he deals with it pretty well.
Have you been to the White House?
Does the key to the city really open anything? Can you tell your dad to ban homework?
Seriously, how could Troy stay calm before these stupid questions? And even the teachers wouldn't leave me alone. They always put me in charge of things. Please, just because my dad has great leadership doesn't mean I do too, as if I wasn't already swamped with chores.
Once the last bell rang, I rushed to the grocery store. Since Dad's always busy now, poor old me had to take up housework, and it's frozen meals all day, every day. But today he'd come home early for dinner, so I'm gonna throw a feast. Except, none of these tasted edible. What's the problem? I followed the recipes very carefully.
Did I come home at the wrong time?
No, Dad, a perfect timing. My apple pie's ready.
You mean that smoking thing in the oven?
Oh no! My only ray of hope has also turned to ashes! I immediately ran to the convenience store, grabbed all of the instant foods, and dashed home. But Dad's already fallen asleep. He must be exhausted. It's always been him who raised me, as Mom passed away giving birth to me. Now on top of that, he had to take care of this whole town. He needed a partner to share his burden, and I needed to be taken care of as well. Let's see, getting to know someone new with Dad's hectic schedule would be impossible. So maybe reconnect him with one of his exes? From my aunt, I learned he had 2 ex-girlfriends. One is Jade, his old classmate who's still single. 2 is Alva. No other information. Let's start with Jade then. Next day, I immediately told Troy and Kira about my master plan. That's my Aunt Jade. No way! It's fated! Suddenly, a group rushed towards us, babbling about my uncle being appointed temporary Secretary of State. Jeez, chill guys! They kept flocking around, making me feel suffocated. Panicked, I ran away, and as I turned the corner, a hand pulled me back.
Calm down. You're safe from that crazy crowd now.
Thanks, but why did you help me?
I've been in your position. I know what you're going through.
Just like that, I found myself comfortably venting everything to her.
It must be hard for your family of 2.
That's why I'm finding him a wife.
Oh, good luck to you then, sweetie. I have to go now.
What a lovely lady. If only everyone could be like her. With Kira's help, setting up a date for Dad and Jade was a piece of cake. We both dragged them to the same restaurant, then cued some cliché matchmaking moments. Me and Kira quickly excused ourselves and monitored things from afar. They seemed to have a good time, but as we leaned closer... Inflation? Food security? Obesity epidemic? They'd been chatting about politics this whole time? Dad! That's exactly why you're single! On the way home, I constantly mentioned Jade, but Dad was nonchalant and switched the subject to his meeting instead. Another one in 30 minutes. I'll have to stay home alone tonight. As he dropped me off, he added,
Find yourself a boyfriend first before trying to set me up.
How annoying! I then called Kira to inform her that our matchmaking plan had failed, but it took her a while to accept it.
You give up too soon. Is it 'cause you don't like my aunt?
No, Kira, it's 'cause I know my dad. And if he said no, it's a no. Okay, now plan B. Alva. I did some digging and figured out the neighborhood where she lived. I'll go there tomorrow. So here I am now, completely lost. Except, isn't that the woman who helped me at school? I rushed over and thanked her for the other day, but she seemed a little off. After a lot of persuading, she finally told me the cause of her sorrow. A tragic love story.
His family are all politicians, so they can't accept someone mediocre like me.
I'm so sorry, but I'm sure you can find someone better. She shook her head, saying he'd recently moved back to town and was still single. That got her reminiscing about the good old days, but sadly, he's seeing someone else. Wait a sec, is that a photo of you two? May I see? She showed it to me. My thought exactly. That's my dad! So, you're Alva?
Yes, but how do you know?
Because you're my dad's ex, just who I'm looking for. I shrieked in happiness, but strangely, she cried even harder, then hugged me.
If that's your dad, then LaDonna, I'm not just his ex. I'm your mom.
Hold up, what now? So, they were deeply in love despite my dad's family's disapproval. But when I was born, they got even angrier and kicked her out. Yet, this entire time, I thought my poor mom was no longer on this earth. Our reunion was cut short by Dad's call. I wanted to ask him everything ASAP, but Mom signaled me not to.
Honey, don't tell Robert yet. Of course I look forward to our family's reunion, but I'm not ready to meet him. And perhaps neither is he. It'll be awkward for him and the woman he's seeing.
No worries, Mom. There's nothing between them. The only woman for him is you. Having Mom beside me made my life so much better. She's a successful businesswoman, but still puts work aside to spend time with me. We went on picnics, shopping, watched movies together. And her cooking is the best. I devoured the grilled ribs in an instant. It's 1,000 times better than frozen food. When I'm around her, I can be myself without worrying about the public's eye. I wish I could skip class every day to stay home with Mom like this, but it's not that easy. At school, I excitedly told Kira and Troy all about my fun outings with Mom, but they looked rather uninterested. Whatever. Mom will pick me up later and we'll have a blast. Suddenly, buzzing talks from other tables cut off my thoughts.
My cat eats faster than her.
Indeed, our graceful princess. Guys, don't be fooled. She's in fact a delinquent who skips class all the time.
Having a mare daddy is so lucky. If we did that, we'd be kicked out right away.
Those mean girls always have something bad to say. I headed toward them to settle this once and for all, but my father's words echoed in my mind.
LaDonna, everyone judges me by your behavior.
Ugh, fine.
They're right, LaDonna. You've been absent quite a lot lately.
I just want to be around my mother.
A good mom would never tell her daughter to skip class. Think about it. There must be a reason for your whole family to be against her.
What do you know? They were the bad guys who unreasonably looked down on her.
Then why did your dad keep in touch with my aunt, but cut ties with her?
So, Kira was still annoyed that my dad and her aunt didn't become a thing? How petty. I walked off, but Troy ran after me.
Kira's just worried about you. Also, you're living in the same town as your mom now. You'll have lots of time with her, so don't play truant again, okay? Here, I've marked the important parts we learned during your absence.
Troy has always been gentle to me. He's right. I have tons of time for Mom, but we can't keep sneaking around like this. My parents should reunite soon. I remembered the story of how my mom first met Dad and got an idea.
What's so important that you have to come here in this weather?
I promised to help out a friend. Please pull over here and wait for me. The friend I was helping was none other than Mom. I then waited a bit before telling Dad to bring me an umbrella because it's raining too hard. Now it's your turn. Go get him, Mom. And just like that, the romantic scene from many years ago was reenacted right before my eyes. My mom was soaking wet, dashed through the rain, then bumped into my father. My dad then bent down to help her up, looked right into her eyes, and dropped her on the ground? I was still in shock when Dad charged towards me and dragged me back to the car.
How did you know that woman?
I asked around.
Just stop. Never see her again, got it?
His extreme reaction was proof that Mom really mattered. They'll definitely get back together soon because they had me, their special bond. That night, I called Mom. She must have been really upset.
It's all right, honey. I'm used to it. Your dad's family was... Never mind. Your birthday's coming. LaDonna, what do you want for a present?
I just want you to be with me.
Yes, sweetie. If only we could celebrate as a family.
That's it! I insisted Dad throw me a huge birthday party. I invited all my friends and acquaintances. When the party began, I stepped on stage and thanked everyone for coming. Lastly, the biggest thanks goes to the people who brought me into this world. Dad, Mom, please join me. I believe you all know my father already, but my mother, Alva Garrix... The crowd began talking and pointing. Now Dad has to acknowledge her.
Please, it's a misunderstanding. Miss Garrix here is only an old friend, and it seems she got along very well with my daughter, which is just adorable. Let's toast to our little princess's birthday.
Unbelievable! He's fully committed to disregarding her. As the guests were busy chatting, Dad pulled me into a room. Ugh, he doesn't have the right to be mad here. Old friend? You're straight up lying! Alva is my mother.
No, she's a gold digger. Look, there's no time right now.
When do you ever have time for me? Dad just sighed, apologized, then sat me down to tell me that back when he first started his business, it failed, but he didn't want to ask his family for help. Mom berated him, saying he was a dumb loser who wouldn't take advantage of his family's power. Unable to change his mind, Mom left after I was born.
No, that's not it. I'm sorry, Robert. I shouldn't have shown up here. It's all my fault.
She suddenly passed out. Panicked, Dad and I put her in bed. That night, I checked on Mom constantly, then fell asleep next to her. I was awoken by my phone's notifications, so I quickly went out to check to not wake Mom. Oh my, hundreds of articles about my dad came up. His old photos with Jade and with my mother were all over the news. The press was saying that he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Dad's bombarded with calls from dozens of news outlets.
It's her. Only Alva has these photos.
Dad, look! How could such a frail person do anything? Suddenly, I saw a figure at the door to Mom's room. Dad and I tiptoed over, then grabbed them. Aha! Gotcha! Huh? Kira? Kira claimed that my mom's very suspicious, so she had to keep an eye on her. I swear she's faking it. I heard her on the phone just now. Enough, Kira! You're out of line this time. I don't want such a petty friend. Leave! Kira didn't say another word and just left. So did my dad.
The protest at 4th Street is still going strong? All right, I'm coming.
It's always work, work, work. Do these strangers matter more to him than his wife and kid? The next day, Troy asked me to meet up at the park for some update. So I unloaded everything onto him. I can't believe my dad rejected Mom just to save face like that. He's not making as much money as when he had his business. Why is he so dead set on this job?
I used to think like that about my mom too, but then I realized that she wasn't doing her job for money or fame, but simply contributing to society. I now entirely support her because it's her life's purpose. It might be the same for your dad.
What Troy said lingered in my mind. It does make sense. If Dad's all about glory, there's many other ways which don't require him bending over backwards day in and day out like this. Troy's always been understanding to his mom. And me? I've never been supportive of Dad when he had to juggle between his job and me. When I got home, Mom was nowhere to be seen, except a letter on the table. Mom said she's terminally ill and didn't have much longer. That's why she risked everything to be with me. But now her health worsened. She didn't want me to witness her pitiful condition, so she left. I immediately called her.
It's dangerous in this abandoned construction site. Please don't come. I just need you to know I love you, LaDonna.
I immediately knew where she was when she said that. I rushed over, but at the entrance, a scary-looking crew approached me.
Don't worry, sweetie. They're our friends. Just listen to them.
They wasted no time tying me up, then called Dad. As soon as he arrived, Mom dropped her act. Turned out, she planned to approach me right after knowing he was elected mayor. Her wish to rekindle with us was just to use Dad, but it didn't work on him, so she's pushing things this far.
Sign here, and our daughter will be safe. Many people will go bankrupt if that's signed. Don't ever think you could fool me. You couldn't care less about your daughter? Or are you still counting on those useless cops?
Ma'am, you underestimate our law enforcers. It's Troy and Kira, followed by undercover policemen coming from all directions. Turns out, Kira actually heard the calls Alva made to her accomplices. She then told Troy and asked his mom to look into Alva. Coincidentally, the police had always been after Alva because she's been involved in a scheme that gave tenants a ridiculously huge debt. She colluded with the former mayor and wanted to continue the scam with my dad now. Before she's taken away, Alva still cried and begged for my help. I was nothing more than a puppet to you, and now you're talking about maternal love? A scammer like you deserves to be brought to justice. After Alva's arrest, I broke down crying. She's my mother. That's the only truth among all those lies. Dad hugged me and said sorry for everything. It's all my fault. I just foolishly fell into her trap because I wanted someone to take care of us.
I'm sorry, LaDonna. You went through so much because of me and my job.
It's okay, Dad. Now I see how meaningful your work is. I'm proud to be your daughter. And you too. Thank you. I decided to sign up for a cooking class to better support Dad, and this banquet is the fruits of my hard work. But before he could even sit down, an emergency call came. He gave me a sorry look, but I gladly said, "Bye, Dad. I'll save you some." I was a little bummed out, but it's his job after all, and if he can't be changed, why not learn to enjoy it? Moments later, these hungry hippos already came. But hey, this just came to my mind. How about Troy's mom? She's also single and would look great with your dad, right? Nah, I've realized he already has a love of his life, serving the community. He's very happy with his choice, so I'll leave him be, for now.
That's right. Besides, we can't be family. At least, not yet.
It was the last lap and I was in the final stretch. There was only one car ahead of me and I could see the finish line coming close, so I pushed on the acceleration as far as it could go. Suddenly, I heard a weird noise coming from the engine and lost control at once. The car started spinning like crazy and off the track onto the grass. Hi, I'm Natalie, and it's me behind that wheel. You may be wondering how I got myself into that situation, so let's begin from the start. I was born into a racing family, so the passion for sports naturally ran in my veins. But my life somehow resembled Maggie Payton in the movie Herbie, as my dad didn't allow me to race. Instead, he put all his faith in my adopted brother Jeremy, and by pouring everything he knew into teaching him, with a hope that he'd become a great racer. Only the explanation to this wasn't as complex as in the movie. My mom passed away when I was a newborn, but no vehicle accident was involved. It's just my dad was of the opinion that ladies should be gentle and sweet. So he forbade me from participating in racing or anything even remotely dangerous. Despite that, growing up with Jeremy by my side was truly a blessing. Although not related by blood, we were very close. Jeremy often let me take the wheel of his race car without Dad knowing, and he even taught me all he had learned from Dad. Over time, I was able to catch up to him in terms of racing prowess. Today, he had a big race, and as usual, I went to his room to check on him. But he was still in bed. His face was pale and obviously he was in pain. Jeremy, what's wrong? I think I got food poisoning from that gas station hot dog. Gosh, just drop it. You can't drive in this condition.
I can't. This is the qualifying round for the championship season. Dad will be so disappointed in me. So, there's only one way. Hey, I can drive in your place. Are you crazy, Natty? Blah. Jesus, see? There's no time. Under the racing gear, nobody can tell us apart. He was reluctant for a while, but finally gave in. So here I am, in a super cool appearance. I felt a wave of exhilaration that sent me sprinting to the track. Passing other racers with deft accuracy, I left trails of smoke in my wake as I smoothly swerved into the tight turns. When I reached the final lap, I gave it my all and finished in first place. Yippee! I got back to the waiting area after the race, then was suddenly dragged away. Hey, Jeremy's here. I'm all right now. Just want to make sure you made it out okay. Congrats on first place. Thank you. Now switch clothes with me. They need to see your face on the podium. As Jeremy raised up the trophy, I couldn't help but imagine myself in his place, overcome with happiness. That evening, the race was replayed on TV. Jeremy, your style is different today. You finally understood how to drive more freely. I've always said you have potential, yet you don't have the guts to shatter limitations. But if you keep racing like that, we may need to get you another trophy shelf. Yes, I'll try. You were really cool today. Keep up the good work. After that race, I still felt the electric rush lingering in my bones. So I asked Jeremy to let me keep taking his place. Enough, Natty. Last time I did it as a last resort. You don't really want to be a racer anyway. Let me help you. In the meantime, you can focus on your passion. Seeing him hesitate, I continued. If you're afraid of being caught, just be there at all times so we can swap back whenever we need to.
Jeremy's Jeremy. Couldn't say no to my puppy eyes.
After that, I wore Jeremy's racing suit and entered all of his competitions. During that time, Jeremy would covertly hide among the crowd and wait. Oh, did I mention that my brother is a huge crochet fanatic? He even runs an Etsy business stocked with incredible pieces he made all by himself. Things were going kind of smoothly, but public practice was out of the question because we had to keep this a secret from Dad. So Jeremy's plan was for me to pretend to be dating the team mechanic, Royce, also his best friend. This would give me an excuse to go to the track on a regular basis to practice. The following day, Jeremy took me to meet Royce, and luckily he was so friendly and agreed to assist us right away. Although balancing school and racing was hard, I still nailed it beautifully. At school, nobody knew I came from a racing family as we never appeared together in public. Not to brag, but a lot of guys were smitten with me. However, this dude, Liam, stood out. He's actually Jeremy's biggest racing rival, so I couldn't help but laugh internally as he made many attempts at wooing me in school. If you were a vegetable, you'd be a cucumber. Just to turn green with envy at me on the racetrack, as he had no idea it was me under this costume. It made sense, given he hadn't lost to Jeremy this many times before. Yeah! Hey, Jeremy, what's your deal? Your racing style has changed so drastically. Just then, a staff member from our team turns to me. Yeah, and you've been really quiet lately. I'm just focusing on the competition. And so, this began my official rivalry between Liam and I. We were racing neck and neck, but all of a sudden my engine died and stopped in the middle of the track. I watched as a few cars zoomed past me and Liam took the win. My win. Seeing that dude get out of his car and reveal his smug face had my blood boiling. The next week, I was in another race to make up for last week's fiasco, but this time I had a flat tire. Were the racing gods against me beating Liam? Due to my recent losing streak, some of my sponsors threatened to have their sponsorship withdrawn if I don't win the next race. So this time, I got Royce to triple check that the car was ready to race. I scrutinized every nook and cranny, same as the last few races. If something goes wrong again, then my guess is that you have a petty guy willing to sabotage you. My next race was going well, but on the last lap, as I reached a tight turn, I pressed on the brake and my car was not slowing down. Time seemed to slow as the wall rushed closer. My palms clenched the steering wheel. It was a dance of split-second decisions and instinct, but I managed to swerve, the tire screeching in protest as I narrowly avoided disaster. Close shave. I looked over to the finish line and saw that Liam had once again secured first place. He was definitely behind this. So I quickly got changed and barged into Liam's waiting room to confront him. Oh, my angel. What are you doing in this fiery battlefield? It's you who played tricks on my brother, right? Spit it out. Your brother? Who? Jeremy Wilson? You sabotaged someone else's car too, or what? What are you talking about? Drop the act. You're the one who benefits the most if my brother loses. Recently, his car kept breaking down. This can't be a coincidence. It just seems like luck is on my side. See, the girl I like also happens to come from a famous racing family. We're a match made in heaven.
How can you be so casual about this? Don't you know how dangerous it is to drive with broken brakes? If not for my driving skills, I would have been injured.
Wait, your driving skills? Were you the one driving the car?
I mean, my brother.
Oh my god, it's you! I knew something's off lately.
Watch your tongue. I didn't say anything. Focus on the actual conversation. You either confess to the crime, or I will investigate and expose your true face to the whole world. Mark my words. I couldn't believe I just let my secret slip to my biggest rival. If Jeremy knew this, he'd definitely tell me to quit racing. So after a sleepless night, I decided to meet Liam for a proper talk, but he found me first.
Are you Google? 'Cause you have everything I'm searching for.
Stop messing around. I'm not done with you yet. The you broke my car case?
I had no idea about it, I swear. I'm competitive, but not that low. But isn't it normal for a car to suddenly break down sometimes?
Put that aside. Anyway, have you told anyone about my identity yet?
No, but what's up with that?
I want you to keep your mouth shut. So let's make a deal. What do you want?
Except for a date like in some sappy rom-coms, of course. Then nothing. Just don't avoid me anymore. And tell me why you have to disguise as your brother.
That's none of your business.
All right, then I'll ask someone else.
Fine. Just promise you won't tell anyone. Then I told Liam everything. And since that day, he had officially become my shadow, no matter at school or on the track.
I need to complain to Spotify for not naming you this week's hottest single. Oh wow, they really look cute together. Even though they're competitors, love always wins.
And that's how we accidentally became a gay couple in the racing scene. At first, I found Liam very annoying, but soon I realized his great passion for racing matched my own, and his insights into the racing world were unexpectedly captivating. I found myself opening up to Liam, sharing my thoughts and feelings with ease, and somehow felt happy around him. But the mystery around my broken car hadn't unfolded, so I couldn't let my guard down. And here comes the last qualifying match before the championships. My dad was also here today to motivate everyone. I was so nervous, yet still had to act lovey-dovey with Royce in front of Dad. Obviously, Liam wasn't happy about that. He kept coming in between us, even though he knew we were just pretending. Natalie, focus! I couldn't stand to keep my secret any longer. So I gotta carry the day to prove myself, then reveal the truth to him and race under my own identity. I turned on the engine's full power and felt its huge force as I raced. My helmet fought the wind, and the air surge was like a thrilling symphony. It was the last lap, and I was in the final stretch. There was only one car ahead of me, Liam's car, and I could see the finish line coming close. So I pushed on the acceleration as far as it could go. As I raced past him, I was both precise and fast. My heart pounded in my chest, and I could feel an adrenaline rush through my body. Suddenly, a strange sound came from my car, and I lost control at once. The car started spinning like crazy and off the track onto the grass. I was dizzy, but lucky enough, not a scratch. As I came to, the first person I saw was Liam? He dropped everything just to check that I was okay. He took me to my pit stop, where my teammates rushed over to support. Suddenly, my dad appeared. I was panicking and I didn't know where to go or hide when...
Natalie, no need to hide anymore. I already know.
How?
That doesn't matter. Look at you. What a mess.
I just wanted to prove to you that I can do it. This is my passion. Why do you always stop me?
Your passion? You mean falling off the track?
You just ignored all the times I'd won first place. You're a terrible, selfish, evil father who has no love for your children and always forces others to do this, do that. People don't respect you because they want to. Everyone only listens to you because they're afraid of you, just like me and Jeremy. Just then, Dad slapped me hard across the cheek. I stumbled back and fell onto Liam. It was you, wasn't it?
I'm sorry. I just couldn't watch you get yourself in danger anymore.
Meeting you is my entire life's greatest regret. Before anyone could see me cry, I ran away. I have nothing left. No one understands me. No one. I lay there in my room, consumed by a cloud of gloom after Dad's week-long grounding. Suddenly, a pebble knocked at my window. It was Liam. He was trying to throw a rope up to me. After a moment of hesitation, I finally climbed down.
I'm sorry I went behind your back. I didn't know your dad would go that far. I care about you and just want you to be safe. But now I realize the way to do that is to find the true culprit who vandalized your car.
Liam's apology felt really sincere. Look at him. I couldn't stay mad forever.
The last time you raced, you never left your car's side. The pre-checks are where we need to look into. Are you sure you can fully trust this Royce guy?
He's my brother's best friend. Why would he sabotage me? You're just being subjective. Suddenly, a memory resurfaced in me. Last week, I saw Royce lingering around the car for longer than the usual inspection. He told me that I need a new head gasket or else I wouldn't be able to accelerate without blowing the engine. Now, when I think of it, it seems kind of fishy. So we rushed to Royce's shop immediately.
Natalie, what are you doing here? I'm sorry to hear things have been rough between you and your dad.
But you're not sorry for almost taking my life?
What are you talking about?
Cut the act. I've got all the evidence against you.
What evidence?
Shut up. I have CCTV footage of your criminal acts. If I give it to the racing committee, you'll be out for good. What do you think? My hands were trembling as I hoped that Royce couldn't see through my bluff. But shockingly, Royce's face went pale and he crumbled to the ground.
All right, Natalie, it's me. But I didn't mean to hurt you. I just want to help Jeremy. How does that help Jeremy? Actually, I have a crush on him, and Jeremy confided in me once. I don't know what to do. I love Natalie very much, but I always feel self-conscious in front of her. I'm just an adopted child. Becoming a racer is all that my dad wishes for me. If I stop racing, he won't love me anymore. Meanwhile, Natalie's far better than me from the beginning. If Dad finds out I'm such a loser, he will disown me.
Jeremy, my poor brother.
I just wanted to scare you into not racing. Everything I did to your car was carefully deliberated beforehand so that you wouldn't get hurt. I'm sorry. I'll find a way to fix everything.
I got home later that night, only to hear arguing from the living room.
What you did to Natalie was unfair. You kept her from doing what she loves, just like me. I've never dared to admit this, but now, Dad, racing isn't my passion. This is. What? But you find it too girly, right? Actually, I just race to please you. And only this simple thing makes me happy.
Unable to stand by, I interjected, revealing how Jeremy was living in so much fear among his own family. They were shocked for a moment. Then Dad said,
Jeremy, it's all my fault to put so much pressure on you and make you feel like you weren't loved enough. You're always my son, no matter if you choose racing or not. And Natalie, I'm sorry for hitting you. The pain on your cheek may have gone, but still lingers in my hand. I just didn't want to risk losing you. I never told you this, but when your mother was pregnant with you, she got sick, and I could have lost both of you when she went into labor. Ever since that day, I swore to keep you safe, alive, and healthy.
Dad, I love you, but I love racing too. I hope that I can count on your support on the track. Then I revealed that Royce was the one who sabotaged my car. They were both shocked and furious, especially Jeremy. But after being told the full story, they decided to forgive Royce as he showed his remorse by confessing his crime and was temporarily suspended. We had not seen him since then. True compassion lies not only in caring for someone, but also in caring for them in the right way. Misguided intentions can unintentionally sow the seeds of unintended consequences. Finally, I could officially join the race using my own name. Dad came to see me today as well. He seemed quite concerned, but encouraged me anyway. Suddenly, Liam approached me.
If I win this time, fair and square, would you go on a date with me?
You have no chance to win, but a date? You earned it. I was at the fish market busy selling some crabs to a customer when I turned around and saw this guy stealing our fish. He quickly ran away. I grabbed a stone, aiming it at the thief, but suddenly a guy appeared and it hit him instead. Hey, what was that? Let go of me! Shouldn't you at least apologize? I looked over and the thief was nowhere to be found. The thief's escaped! You should apologize! But the guy just frowned and huffed off. Hi, I'm Serena, and I was brought up here, in this picturesque fishing town. When I was little, I lost Mom and Dad to the sea, so Grandma raised me. We couldn't afford school for me. Instead, I helped Grandma sell fish at the market to make ends meet. But things weren't always easy.
Serena, you all right?
Yes, I just wish people wouldn't steal.
I know. Hopefully it was an extra stinky fish that will give them a tummy ache.
That's Edward, my best friend since childhood. Edward's parents are also fishermen, so we naturally bond together and grew up inseparable. Later, Edward and I were busy closing when I heard murmurs and saw Mr. Elbridge, the fishing enforcement officer.
Anyone caught poaching striped bass will be given a hefty fine.
What? You gotta be kidding me! Sir, it's only considered poaching if they were caught out of season, which they're not.
Oh, really? Do you have the legal documentation to overpower my decision? Nope. Thought as much.
He's obviously abusing his power. At home, I told Grandma everything that had happened at the fish market.
I know it's not fair, sweetie, but maybe one day you could study, become an amazing lawyer, and help the local fishermen. I want to help. I can tutor you if you'd like.
That's brilliant! Since then, Edward stayed true to his word and tutored me. He was smart, kind, and so patient in explaining things to me. Time flies, and by the time I turned 13, I had the biggest crush on Edward, but I had no clue how he felt about me.
I'll wash up. In the future, I'll always share the housework with you.
What does he mean by that? Does he also have feelings for me? The next day, when Edward and I were having ice cream, some kids came in and started making fun of me.
Do you know eating too much ice cream makes you fat? Oh, of course you don't, because you don't go to school. She doesn't need to. She's still far smarter than you'll ever be.
Why did you always stick up for me? Is it because you think of me as a
little sister?
I need to stop daydreaming. He doesn't have those kinds of feelings for me. Then, when I turned 17, something terrible happened. Grandma fell so sick that she passed away. At the funeral, I felt so alone with all the adults around, and Edward was nowhere to be seen. When everything was settled, Uncle Leon said he'd take me to live with his family in the city. I had to tell Edward, but when I got to his house, it was all locked up. So I quickly slid a note with my uncle's address under his door, then left for the city. As soon as we walked into the mansion, Aunt Clara and Rachel were already there, frowning.
Ugh, can you smell rotting fish?
Ew, get yourself some perfume, please.
Enough! You will make Serena feel welcome here. Please prepare a nice room and everything Serena needs.
Uh-oh, not a good start. But then Uncle Leon had to go away for a business trip and asked Aunt Clara to find me a tutor as he was afraid going to school might be a shock for me. I was so excited to finally study and pursue my lawyer dream. However, all the tutors Aunt Clara found were terrible. I actually had to teach them simple sums. Meanwhile, Aunt Clara showered me with errands to run. Suddenly, I saw a blur of a dog and boy and smash! You idiot! How am I meant to cycle home with an injured knee?
You're hearing this, Rex? How is she gonna cycle back home? Sorry, I'll take you home.
I accepted his offer, mainly because I didn't exactly have much choice. What's your number?
Wow, that was quick.
Stop daydreaming. I need it in case I decide to sue you. The guy, Henry, finally quit fooling around and gave me his number. When we got to the mansion, I caught sight of a familiar figure. Edward! I limped over and looped my arms around him.
Who are you?
Before I could respond, Henry shrugged his shoulders, then left. Edward then told me all about the tragic events that had happened to him.
My father made a bad decision to go dynamite fishing. The Coast Guard caught him, but as he tried to run away, his boat smashed into a reef. We needed to move to the city for his treatment. Luckily, I got a scholarship into college here, so I can study and also care for Dad. I'm so sorry it's taken me this long to find you.
That's okay, I understand. It all sounds terrible.
What about you? So you live in that big mansion now? Is that guy your boyfriend?
Henry? Oh, no. He's just
good because, well, I wanted to tell you that I missed you and I love you, Serena.
But you said I'm just a sister to you.
I was 13. I didn't understand my feelings back then, but I do now. Serena, not having you by my side felt so empty. Will you be my girlfriend?
We started dating and having Edward by my side felt so great. I was complaining about my terrible tutors when Edward suggested he become my tutor instead. That's a great idea. You'll need to prepare an atrocious CV for my aunt to hire you. And it worked.
I don't expect you to get very far with this one. She is rather dumb. What's the deal with you two?
She doesn't like having me here. Halfway through the lesson, Edward got a call from the hospital asking him to pay his dad's bills ASAP before his condition worsened. I was comforting him when Rachel barged in. Serena, go get me some ice. Oh, hello there. Get out!
Who's that?
Rachel, my cousin. Edward seemed distracted after that. I guess he was upset about his dad. He told me to continue with my worksheet and went to the bathroom. I finished the work, but Edward still hadn't returned. Was he lost in this massive house or something? I went to look for him and was shocked to see him and Rachel happily laughing together.
Hi, Serena. I was just getting some water.
I ignored Edward and continued studying by myself.
Are you jealous? I was just being polite.
Darn it, he knew I couldn't be mad at him when he smiled at me like that. But as we continued studying, I couldn't fully shake away my uneasy feeling. But the next day, I was waiting to study with Edward when
Edward won't be coming today.
What? I asked her why, but she just walked off. As she left, I heard her ask the maid to bring fruits to Rachel and her new tutor. Huh? Since when did Rachel have a tutor?
Sensing something was up, I sneaked over to Rachel's room and spotted Edward? Serena, what are you doing over here? Oh, is stalking your new hobby now? I looked at Edward, but he just sat still, so I ran off with blurry eyes and an aching heart. Edward tried to call me, but I just ignored it. That night, he texted me and insisted on waiting for me. I wanted to hear him out, but I was still so angry at him. Serena, please. Your aunt told me I couldn't tutor you anymore and asked me to be Rachel's tutor instead. I need the money for my dad's treatment. I can't turn this amount of money down. Ugh, my aunt was such a witch. I'm so sorry. I would much rather be tutoring you. You're the only girl for me, but I can't lose this job. So let's keep our relationship a secret, okay?
This was no big deal, right? It was me he wanted, not Rachel.
Edward's birthday soon arrived, and we have a date at this restaurant today. I was excited when my phone buzzed. Sorry, babe, something's come up. Can't make it. X.
It must have been something super important for him to cancel like that.
But on my way home, I passed another restaurant and couldn't believe my eyes. Edward and Rachel were sitting together. Rage swarmed over me, and before I could stop myself, I charged in there. Edward, how could you? Jeez, what's up with you? He's not even your tutor anymore. Ask him how long he's known me for. I was just your tutor, that's all. I couldn't believe this, so I stormed off. I felt like such a fool for ever believing his lies. While running in tears, I bumped straight into Henry. You look like you just got dumped. It was the straw that broke the camel's back, so I started crying louder. It's not me. I didn't do anything. Please stop crying. Anything you want, anything. How about the aquarium?
It turns out the aquarium was just what I needed. Watching the fish was so relaxing, and Henry was surprisingly a lot of fun to be around.
Your parents must be super easygoing to put up with you. Nope, my lawyer mom is way opposite.
Oh wow, that's cool. It's my dream to be a lawyer.
Is that so? My school's interviewing for a law foundation course. You should apply.
A law foundation course, huh? Should I give it a try?
I arrived home feeling better, but Aunt Clara wouldn't leave me alone with her usual mocking routines. You spoiled ingrate! Soon you'll be 18 and I can rid my hands of you.
I had enough. So I decided to apply for the foundation program Henry mentioned.
It was time to focus on my dream without any further distractions. I studied hard and went to the library for materials. Henry offered to help, and even though I still found him childish sometimes, he was actually quite smart and knew loads about the law. One time, Henry invited me to come watch his debate team. Only when I showed up and spoke to Henry, I saw Edward walk in. My dad's ill, yet here you are, with him? Serena can go where she pleases.
It's okay, Henry. I got it.
Rachel's just my friend. I love you, not her. I just need to earn enough money. Then I'll end this mess with Rachel for good.
What he did was still hard to accept, but he was in a tough situation. I would be a terrible girlfriend if I didn't support him, right?
Despite all this drama, I'd been studying hard, and now it was time for my interview. Only on my way there, I saw a woman yelling at 2 students. Watch where you're going, you idiots!
Excuse me, but this is a pedestrian crossing, hence the driver's fault for not stopping.
How dare you speak the law to me, you little girl? Do you know who I am?
But as everyone started buzzing, she had no choice but to drive off.
What happened?
I explained it to him and pointed at the woman's car. He didn't say anything, but seemed quite surprised.
We then went to the interview, but when I told the assistant my name, she smiled and said, "You don't need to draw a number. Mrs. Shodden was impressed with your profile, so she wishes to interview you herself. It's best you follow the right procedure." I was a bit confused, but Henry knew better than me. Anyway, I had my interview with someone else, and I passed. Yay! Since then, I studied hard, and Henry helped me a lot. On my first oral exam, he even came along to encourage me. Only as soon as I stepped into the room, I saw that rude woman standing there. Hang on, she's the judge! Nerves wriggled at me, but I kept calm and nailed the exam. But afterward, she charged over to me. Don't expect a pass from me, you manipulative girl, seducing my son to get into this college.
Huh? Her son? Who?
Mom, you can't do that. The exam's recorded. They'll see you're just being prejudiced. I insist you cut ties with this schemer at once. She humiliated me in front of a crowd and tried to smudge my impeccable reputation. No, she didn't. She was just telling the truth. Oh, and that day, I purposely called her in for an interview, but turned out you intervened. And ever since then, this snake was following you everywhere. So end it at once or leave.
So this woman is Miss Shodden? And worse still, she's Henry's mom? Suddenly, Henry grabbed my hand and led me out of there.
How dare you! You're ungrateful and spoiled! I only adopted you so I had someone to look after me in my old age. But you know what? You'll never be my son! Don't forget to take your meds twice a day.
Seeing him talk back to his mother just to defend me, I couldn't help but ask, Henry, why did you help me so much?
It's because Mom was in the wrong, and seeing you getting pushed around hurts me a lot.
Why, Henry?
'Cause I like you a lot. Let me be there for you.
Henry, your mom shouldn't have spoken to you like that. But she was only angry because she cares about you. You should talk to her. I really hope things will turn out fine between them. Henry dropped me home, and now all I could think about was his love confession. To be honest, I do have feelings for Henry, but what about Edward? What about our years spent together? Suddenly, I got a text from Edward asking to meet up. I guess it was time to sort this out. While waiting for Edward to order ice cream, I got a message from Henry saying he was coming to my place for some great news. I asked him to come pick me up instead.
This reminds me of our fishing village in summer and getting ice creams at the end of a sweltering day. I love you, Serena. I always cherish our memories together every day.
Edward, actually, this isn't working. I think we should stop seeing each other.
What? Why?
I soon realized that something was wrong with our relationship. I just didn't have the courage to face it. We had a special friendship that I cherished and nurtured, but now I think it's time for me to accept the truth that we're not meant for each other. Bye, Edward. I wish you the best with Rachel. As I stepped out of there, I saw Henry waiting for me, and I instantly felt better.
I made up with my mom. She apologized for what she said in her temper and told me that I would always be her real son.
Henry, that's brilliant news! Right then, I got a message from Miss Shodden.
Serena, I apologized for my behavior. I am most pleased Henry is getting to know such a righteous lawyer in the making.
It looks like everything's falling into place. I arrived home, not expecting to see Rachel in a fit of tears. Mom, make her leave! This is all her fault!
How dare you bewitch Edward! He's quit tutoring Rachel, and now my poor Rachel is distraught. I will keep on hiring you awful tutors and see how long it takes until you break. Is that so?
So Uncle Leon stopped Rachel's allowance and took Aunt Clara's credit cards off her. He also made them apologize to me. I told him about my foundation placement, and he was so happy for me and offered to rent me an apartment near the college. It's time to live my dream. Now I just had one thing left to do. Take Henry to visit my hometown with me.
This place looks familiar to me. I know, I think I came here as a child. Yes, this weird little girl threw a stone at me and then got mad.
I suddenly realized Henry was that tourist guy I met when I was 10. Yep, that would be me. Henry seemed surprised, then suddenly pulled me in.
I guess some things are just meant to be.